Hi, my name is Donna and welcome to my sewing journey. And right now I'm going to teach you how to sew a straight seam. So hold on, here we go. Okay, so the hardest part is not watching the needle. When I'm teaching people how to sew, most people want to watch that needle. It's like watching the steering wheel while you're trying to drive. You don't want to watch the steering wheel. You want to watch the road. So it's the same kind of thing. You want to watch a fabric as it's going into the machine, and you want to watch the edge of your fabric on something. So there's lots of different ways to do that. The sewing machine, if you can see right here, it has lines. Each one of these lines is a marker. It gives you the measurements, and most sewing machines have it at least on one side, if not both. That's one way. You can guide your fabric following, like if I was doing a 1/2 inch, I would follow the 4/8, which is a 1/2 inch. Just follow that along. Another way is, this is a cheat sheet way of doing it. This is a little sewing guide. They can come in metal, plastic, you can get them all different ways. You can do section with curves. But when you're first learning to sew, nice flat side, you can set that up on your sewing machine on the width that you want. And say we were going to do a 3/8. I just set it up right there, line that up on there, pull it forward a little bit so that you can just guide your fabric in that way. And it gives you the perfect. And then there's the way my mom taught me, which is also a great way of teaching somebody how to sew, how to do it. Gives them a good visual. Is you take your ruler. This is a nice acrylic clear one that has different markings on it, so I can set this up, line it up on my fabric to mark 3/8 seam on the edge, and you can draw it on there. This is just a fabric pencil that will, with a little bit of heat, will disappear. And then you can use that, and I'll show you where you line that up. And you would line this up. You take your line that you just made and you watch it going in right here at that center, and then it'll also be lined up here on this line, but you watch that go in. And when I start sewing, I like to put my needle down. See this, you can barely see it, but the line isn't very dark, but you can barely see it. Hold my thread to the back, and you're going to guide the fabric in. You're not going to push it through. You're going to let the feed dogs drag it through. But you step on. I always back tack, and then you just guide it in, and you just let the machine do the work. And you just keep guiding that white line right in there, and back tack at the end. Oops, sorry about that. All right. And then you can see straight line. So there's different ways to do that, but when you start and stop, you want to backtrack, and I'll show you where that is. So on my sewing machine, there's a little lever right here, has a little U-shaped thing. That's for backtacking. That just runs a stitch back over itself at the end. I don't know if you can see that. And what that does is it prevents that from undoing, and so the stitches won't come out. So when you're done. But that's, some of the simple ways to sew a straight seam. So you can use one of those 3 methods. And when you first start stepping on the pedal, just press lightly and watch it go slowly. But the feed dogs are going to do the work. They're your workhorse. Let them do their job. These little teeth right here, those things right here is what grabs the fabric and pulls it through. So you don't have to manhandle it to get it through. You can let the machine do the work. You're just going to guide it, and your guide, as you're guiding it, you're going to guide the fabric where you want it to go by lining it up on that edge. Or you can draw a line, you can use a guide. There's lots of different ways. And practice. Grab little scraps of fabric like this one. Little scraps like this. All kinds of little scraps. And just sew them together until you get better at it. And then you'll get more confidence when you start getting, straight seams.